In the vast silence of space, the Galactic Union stretched across 1,000 worlds. Dozens of star systems, hundreds of species, and billions of years of recorded knowledge. The Union believed it had mapped every intelligent life form worth knowing. Every rising civilization was noted, studied, and observed. Then came the signal. It was faint at first, a rhythmic pulse, almost like an old distress beacon. But it carried a pattern the Union's analysts had never seen. The signal came from the Sol system, a quiet corner of the Orion Arm, far from any known trade routes. Planet designation, Earth, said the translator drone. Technological level, early spaceflight. Cultural maturity, emerging. Estimated age of species, less than 200,000 local years. Ambassador Zelthar of the Vorel species studied the report with mild amusement. He was a tall, silver-skinned being with 4 bright eyes that shimmered with curiosity. To him, humanity sounded young, full of energy, but still walking on shaky legs compared to the ancient empires of the stars. Another new world, Zelthar said, folding his thin hands together. Perhaps we can guide them. Teach them the peaceful ways of the Union. His assistant, a soft-voiced creature named Vela, nodded. Their transmissions show great potential. They value exploration and science, but they still argue, still fight among themselves. Zelthar chuckled lightly. All young species do. Let us visit their world. It will be good for the Union to welcome another civilization into the light of the stars. The Union Council approved the mission at once. A silver vessel named Orion Dawn was prepared for the journey. Its sleek hull gleamed as it left the dockyards of Vorel Prime, engines whispering with controlled power. The stars bent around it as it slipped into hyperspace. The voyage to Earth would take only a few standard days. During that time, Zelthar studied human broadcasts. He saw their movies, their news, and their countless discussions. He saw the confusion, the wars, but also the kindness and dreams. They are fascinating, he admitted one night. So much emotion in such short lives. But they truly believe they are alone. Vela smiled, her golden eyes soft. They will be surprised, Ambassador. Imagine their faces when they meet us. Zelthar imagined it. The moment when the humans would look up and realize they were part of something greater. It would be a grand moment for both sides. When Orion Dawn arrived at the edge of Earth's orbit, everything changed. The ship exited hyperspace near the moon, its scanners immediately locking onto hundreds of human satellites. There were communications networks, weather monitors, and even military units circling the planet. Primitive, but clever, said Vela. They have filled their orbit with machines. But before the ambassador could reply, an alert flashed across the console. Unknown response detected, said the ship's computer. The Orion Dawn had sent a simple greeting, a harmless broadcast introducing the Union's presence. But instead of silence or confusion, Earth answered. A clear, sharp signal returned instantly. It matched the Union's encrypted frequency. Zelthar froze. How is that possible? The ship's systems blinked and flickered. One by one, the human satellites aligned, not in random motion but in perfect synchronization. The orbital grid reshaped itself, forming a geometric pattern that no one had taught them. It's like they recognize us, whispered Vela. The ambassador's 4 eyes narrowed. No, it's like they expected us. The silence that followed was heavy. Moments later, a calm human voice came through the speakers. It was clear, confident, and strangely warm. Welcome, travelers, it said. You have reached Sol. Please hold your position. You are being observed. The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. Who are you? Zelthar asked, leaning toward the mic. We come in peace from the Galactic Union. We wish to make contact. The voice replied, We know who you are, Ambassador Zelthar. Please wait. Earth Control is preparing your entry. Shock swept through the crew. They know my name, the ambassador whispered. We never sent it. An hour later, a landing zone was assigned on a small island base in the Pacific Ocean. The Orion Dawn descended slowly, its engines whispering like wind. On the ground, human soldiers and scientists waited. They were calm, organized, and strangely silent. As the ship landed, a group of human leaders approached. Their uniforms were simple, their expressions neutral. The man in front introduced himself. Welcome to Earth, he said. I am Director Hayes, representative of the United Earth Council. Zelthar bowed slightly. We bring greetings from the stars, Director. The Galactic Union extends a hand of friendship. Hayes smiled politely. We are honored. But tell me, Ambassador, what made your council think Earth was a young world? Zelthar blinked in confusion. Your civilization is new to space travel, is it not? Hayes only smiled again and motioned for them to follow. They were led into a large hall beneath the island, an underground chamber filled with glowing symbols and massive pillars. The walls were lined with ancient metal plates covered in strange inscriptions. Vela stopped suddenly. Ambassador, she whispered, I can read this language. Zelthar turned to her. That's impossible. That script belongs to the old empire, the civilization that vanished millions of years ago. The director turned to face them. His calm voice echoed in the chamber. It seems your history books missed a few chapters. He walked to one of the plates and touched it. The symbols shimmered to life, displaying a map of the galaxy, but the names were different. The star routes were older. Even the Union's homeworlds were labeled by forgotten names. This archive, Hayes said, was discovered under Antarctica more than a century ago. It was built long before your Union existed. Zelthar stepped closer, his voice trembling. You mean to say, these were made by humans? The director met his eyes. They were made by us, but not by this generation. Humanity once walked the stars long before your kind ever left your oceans. Silence filled the hall. Even the hum of machinery seemed to fade. Vela whispered, This cannot be. Humanity is young. Hayes nodded slowly. That is what you were meant to believe. We fell, we hid. We rebuilt, and we waited until the galaxy was ready again. Back aboard Orion Dawn, the ambassador sat in his chair, staring at the blue planet through the viewport. The humans had allowed them to leave peacefully, promising further talks soon. But the visit had changed everything. How could they have known our codes? Vela asked softly. How did they speak our ancient language? Zelthar did not answer at first. His mind was heavy with questions. He finally said, Maybe Earth is not as young as we think. Maybe we are the ones who came later. As the ship drifted above the planet, the stars reflected on its surface, bright, endless, and silent. Somewhere deep below, ancient engines might still be waiting, and far beyond the horizon, unseen to alien eyes, a signal pulsed from the dark side of the moon, faint but deliberate. It was the same pattern that had started it all. Only this time it was sending a message outward, to someone or something that is waiting in the deeper void. The message was simple, they have returned. The world was quiet after the first contact. No massive celebrations. No parades. Earth behaved as if meeting alien life was nothing new. The Galactic Union had expected wonder and excitement, yet what they received was calm professionalism. Humanity acted like hosts, not guests, in a meeting they already knew would happen. Ambassador Zelthar stood in the observation chamber of the Orion Dawn, staring at Earth's blue glow. His mind refused to settle. The discovery beneath the island base still haunted him. Those metallic plates, the inscriptions, the map of the galaxy drawn long before the Union existed. How could a young species know so much? His assistant Vela walked in with her usual quiet steps. She carried a holographic tablet filled with translations. Ambassador, she said softly, I finished decoding some of the inscriptions we found. He turned to her, his silver eyes sharp. And she hesitated. They speak of Builder, beings who shaped the first star routes. They call themselves the First Light. Their language matches that of the old empire. Zelthar frowned. The First Light? The same beings believed to have vanished before recorded history. Vela nodded. Yes, but the carvings we found under Earth show human figures beside those symbols. The ambassador went silent. The truth was forming in his mind, but it was too heavy to accept. Finally, he said, Request another audience with the humans. I must see more. Later that day, a transport shuttle descended through thick clouds and landed in the heart of a desert region, once known as Egypt. The humans called this place the Cradle of Time. Director Hayes awaited them again, dressed in a plain uniform with no decorations. His eyes, though calm, carried a depth that seemed far older than his years. Ambassador Zelthar, he greeted with a polite smile. You wish to see our deeper archives? Yes, the ambassador replied. I must understand. How could your kind know our ancient symbols? And why do your ruins contain languages lost to the stars? Hayes motioned toward the vast desert ahead. Come with me. The convoy moved across golden sands under a bright sun. After several kilometers, they reached a rocky plateau. Hidden beneath it was an entrance, a massive metal gate half buried in sand. As they approached, the gate opened on its own. The air that escaped was cool and clean, untouched by time. The walls inside shimmered faintly with embedded light patterns. This place, Hayes said, was not built by our current civilization. It was found nearly 200 years ago during deep excavation. Our scientists named it Vault 1. We believe it was made long before recorded human history. Vela touched one of the glowing walls. The symbols reacted instantly, forming words in both Galactic Standard and the Old Tongue. It's reading my thoughts, she whispered. Hayes nodded. It recognizes higher cognition. That is how it communicates. As they walked deeper, they reached a massive chamber filled with crystal panels and floating holograms. Some displayed star maps, while others showed figures that looked like humans wearing strange armor, and standing beside ships the aliens did not recognize. These ships, Zelthar said slowly, they are impossible. Their engines resemble the first warp drives, yet more advanced. Hayes looked at him. You are correct. The records suggest humanity created interstellar travel when the galaxy was still young. Vela blinked in disbelief. But that would mean your species is older than the Union itself. The director's smile faded. Older than the Union. Older than many of your oldest stars. They stopped in front of a central console. A sphere floated above it, glowing softly. Hayes placed his hand on it. Instantly, the room changed. The walls lit up, showing moving images. Not words, but memories. The aliens gasped as they saw great cities built in space with towers that stretched across the light of stars. Human ships soared between systems, their trails forming bright paths across the void. Entire worlds shone with energy harvested from suns. Then came darkness. A great war, brief but destructive. The skies burned, stars dimmed, and silence followed. Millions of years ago, Hayes said quietly, our ancestors ruled the stars. But something happened, something that broke us. The records call it the shattering. After that, the survivors hid. They erased our presence and left behind a sleeping world. Earth. Zelthar could barely speak. You mean to tell me humanity ruled the galaxy once? Hayes answered without pride or fear. We were not rulers. We were guardians. We built, we taught, and we watched. Then came others, younger species who rose after our fall. The galaxy forgot us, and perhaps that was for the best. Vela stepped forward. Why hide this truth now? Because, Hayes said, we were not ready to return. Not until others came looking. He looked directly at Zelthar. You came to teach us, Ambassador, but maybe we are here to remind you. They left the vault hours later, silent and thoughtful. As they walked back toward the surface, Vela looked up at the bright sky. Ambassador, she whispered, if this is true, everything we know is built on their ruins. He nodded slowly. And if that is so, then we must ask ourselves, did we ever truly discover space, or were we only following their path? That night, Zelthar returned to the Orion Dawn. The crew awaited his report. Many were uneasy. The story of Earth's ancient past was spreading through the Union already. When he entered the bridge, his second officer, Yorvin, spoke nervously. Sir, we are receiving encrypted transmissions from several Union worlds. They are demanding confirmation. Is it true that humans possess technology older than our archives? Zelthar sighed. It is true enough to be feared, Yorvin frowned. Then we must be careful. The Council will not react kindly. They will see Earth as a threat. The ambassador nodded. Yes, but fear is born from ignorance. We must learn before we judge. Hours later, as most of the crew rested, Zelthar walked alone through the ship's observation hall. The planet below glowed softly, clouds wrapping around its surface like silver threads. A low hum filled the air, faint, rhythmic. He realized it came from the ship's sensors. Computer, he said, what is that frequency? The artificial voice replied. It matches a signal originating from deep beneath the planet's crust. Unknown source. Power signature ancient but stable. Show location. A hologram appeared, showing the signal pulsing from somewhere near Antarctica. The vault again, Zelthar murmured. Suddenly, Another signal appeared, this one not from Earth, but from far across the galaxy. 2 signals. Identical patterns, said the computer. Origin of the second Delta Perseus sector. An uninhabited system. Zelthar's eyes widened. Then Earth is not alone. The next morning, he called an emergency meeting with Director Hayes. They met aboard the Orion Dawn, surrounded by quiet tension. Director, Zelthar said, your planet is transmitting a signal to a distant star system. Are you aware of this? Hayes didn't look surprised. Yes, we activated the beacon yesterday. It is an old network. It connects the surviving stations of our forgotten colonies. The ambassador's voice grew uneasy. Then there are more of your kind. Out there? Hayes answered calmly. Perhaps. Or perhaps only echoes remain. But the message is clear. The time of silence is ending. As the day ended, Bella stood on the viewing deck beside Zelthar. The stars burned quietly beyond the glass, she said. They are not what we thought, he nodded. No, they are something greater. Something older. Do you think they will try to rule again? She asked softly. Zelthar looked at the shining planet below. No, I think they already did, long ago. Now they only wish to remember who they were. The ship's sensors picked up one final transmission from Earth that night. It was not in any known language, yet every translator could understand it perfectly. The stars once knew our hands. We return not to conquer, but to awaken what sleeps. In the dark of space, the message spread quietly and from one system to another, carried by forgotten machines older than memory itself. The galaxy that once believed Earth was young began to question everything it thought it knew. Because somewhere deep beneath the planet's crust, ancient engines began to stir, and across the stars, lights long extinguished began to glow once more. The stars were quiet, but the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. News of humanity's hidden history had begun to ripple through the Galactic Union, though few could believe it. Ambassador Zelthar sat alone in the observation chamber of the Orion Dawn, staring at Earth below. Its oceans shimmered like liquid silver in the sunlight, and its continents stretched in familiar patterns. Yet beneath the surface, the planet hid truths older than any star he had studied. Vela entered the chamber quietly, her golden eyes reflecting the planet's glow. Ambassador, she said softly, I have reviewed more of the archives from Vault 1. What we saw yesterday, it is only the beginning. Zelthar's 4 eyes focused on her. Go on. There are records, she continued, that describe human colonies spanning the galaxy. Thousands of worlds, each populated by humans. Entire star systems thrived under their guidance. Yet somehow all of it was lost. Even the Union's oldest records make no mention of these colonies. The ambassador felt a chill. You mean, humans built civilizations before the current empires arose? Yes, Vela whispered. They once ruled as teachers, as guardians of life and knowledge. And then, they vanished. Zelthar sank into his chair. The idea was staggering. Humanity was not the new species the Union thought it was. It was the first, the originator of civilizations, the builders of the very starways the galaxy now traveled. Meanwhile, on Earth, the humans were preparing for the next phase of disclosure. Director Hayes met with Dr. Ilara Voss, a leading human scientist and historian. They stood in a chamber deep beneath Antarctica, where ancient machinery hummed with energy. The aliens do not yet understand, Hayes said quietly. They see us as young. They fear what they cannot explain. We must show them the truth carefully. Ilara nodded. We can't reveal everything at once. But the time is near. The galaxy must know the story of the first humans. Hayes looked at the glowing console before them. Activate the archives. Let them see what is necessary. The rest will awaken in time. Hours later, Ambassador Zelthar and his team were led into a larger vault, deeper than anything they had yet encountered. The walls pulsed with light and the air vibrated with a gentle energy. In the center stood a massive structure, shaped like a sphere of crystal. It rotated slowly, projecting a holographic galaxy in 3 dimensions. Points of light glimmered across the projection. Human colonies long forgotten, systems once alive with civilization. Zelthar whispered, This is incredible. Ilara Voss stepped forward. These are the worlds humanity once guided. Each light is a civilization we helped nurture. But something happened that forced us to retreat, to hide. We call it the shattering. Vela tilted her head. The shattering. Yes, Alara said. It was a conflict unlike any before. A war with an unknown force that threatened to consume every human world. We could not win. So we chose to protect what remained. We erased ourselves from memory and withdrew to Earth. Zelthar's mind raced. You survived, but the galaxy forgot you? Alara nodded. We survived by hiding, by waiting. And now after millennia we begin to awaken again. The ambassador stepped closer to the holographic sphere. One point of light in particular drew his attention. A small system on the edge of the known galaxy. It pulsed brighter than the others. Why this one? He asked. Alara's eyes were steady. It was a research hub. The final human colony before the retreat. The systems around it now remember us, though faintly. The beacon you detected earlier was sent from here, activating long-dormant machines that signal our return. Vela spoke softly. You mean humanity is not only awakening on Earth, but across the galaxy? Yes, Alara said. The era of silence is ending. Our ships will rise, our colonies will remember. But we do not wish to rule. We wish to reclaim knowledge and guide as we always have. Zelthar felt a mixture of awe and fear. Humanity was not just ancient. It was a power the galaxy had forgotten. The Orion Dawn left the planet's orbit, carrying Ambassador Zelthar and his team back to space. Their sensors had already detected strange activity. Far beneath Earth, massive machinery began to hum. Ancient engines long dormant started spinning, generating power that no modern human technology could match. Machines that had slept for millions of years awakened as if they recognized the presence of the aliens. Ambassador, Vela said, these are not just archives. These are operational devices. Zelthar's four eyes widened. We are witnessing an awakening. Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up multiple signals across the galaxy. Each matched the frequency they had observed from Earth. Thousands of human outposts, long abandoned, were beginning to stir. Star systems once thought dead began to glow faintly with energy. The colonies, Zelthar whispered. They are alive, Vela's voice trembled. They were never truly gone. Back on Earth, Hayes and Alara watched the unfolding events from the control room. Holographic displays showed colonies awakening, ancient ships powering up and energy beams shooting into space. It begins, Hayes said quietly. The forgotten era is returning. Alara studied the readings. If the Galactic Union responds with fear, they may misinterpret our actions. We must be careful, Hayes nodded. Yes, we will reveal ourselves as teachers, not conquerors. But the galaxy must remember, and humanity was never young. Humanity is the first light. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations began noticing strange phenomena. Ships long buried beneath planets rose. Energy signals that had lain dormant for eons pulsed in space. Many assumed a new force had appeared, a young, dangerous species with unknown intentions. Yet when the first contacts tried to approach, they found no aggression. Humanity did not attack. Ships moved gracefully, careful to avoid conflict. The message sent to all species was clear. We awaken not to dominate, but to restore what was lost. The galaxy once knew our hands. Now it must remember. Zelthar transmitted his report back to the Galactic Union. Words failed him, yet he wrote carefully. We believed humanity was young. We believed Earth was a simple world. We were wrong. They are ancient. They are wise. And they are awakening. As the Orion Dawn observed Earth one final time before leaving for the outer systems, the planet seemed to shimmer with hidden life. Clouds swirled unnaturally as if guided by unseen forces. The oceans pulsed with a rhythm almost alive. Vela whispered, It feels different, like the planet itself remembers. Zelthar nodded silently. He had seen many worlds, but none like this. Earth was more than a planet. It was a living testament to a civilization that had endured through millennia. Hidden from history, waiting for the right time, and now, that time had come. That night, in a quiet corner of the Antarctic vault, the hum of ancient machinery grew louder. A massive sphere lifted from the floor, spinning slowly as energy flowed through it. Light spread through tunnels and chambers, reaching out to the stars. Alara Voss watched the process, her eyes calm but full of wonder. They will awaken, she said softly. All of them. Every colony. Every forgotten world, Hayes nodded. And when they do, the galaxy will finally understand the truth. Humanity is not young. Humanity is the first power, the builders of civilization, the guardians of the stars. Above them, the sky was still, filled with stars. Yet for the first time in millennia, Earth itself was speaking to the cosmos, a quiet pulse. A message carried across light years, reaching the void beyond known systems. Somewhere long-lost human colonies received the signal. Machines stirred. Ships powered on. Lights flickered across abandoned cities. Humanity, long hidden, was beginning to remember itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy was stirring. Signals pulsed across the void, awakening machines and ships long forgotten. Ancient human colonies buried beneath ice, sand, and rock began to hum with energy. Star systems once silent now glimmered as dormant cities and ships flickered to life. Ambassador Zelthar could hardly believe the reports. The Galactic Union had assumed humanity's presence was limited to Earth. They were wrong. Humanity was awakening across the galaxy, quietly, deliberately, and with a precision that stunned even the most advanced civilizations. Ambassador, Vela said, her voice trembling with awe, they are not building weapons, they are activating fleets, entire fleets, and they are aligning. Zelthar stared at the holographic projection of the galaxy. Thousands of human ships, from tiny scouts to massive star carriers, were moving into formation. They were not aggressive, yet their presence alone was overwhelming. They do not attack, he whispered, but they are showing power, ancient power. On Earth, Director Hayes and Dr. Alara Voss watched the awakening unfold. The control room hummed with energy as the systems beneath Antarctica sent coordinated signals to long-lost colonies. These are not ordinary ships, Alara said, leaning over a console. These vessels were designed to travel across galaxies. They are fully operational even after millions of years. Hayes nodded. Our ancestors planned for this day. They left instructions, machinery, and fleets hidden across the stars. Humanity's silence was never permanent. A map displayed the fleet movements, showing how they emerged in waves, reconnecting with other systems. Ancient communication relays lit up as each colony responded to Earth's signal. It is beautiful, Alara whispered. The galaxy will remember the first humans. Meanwhile, the Galactic Union was in chaos. Reports of ships rising from buried colonies and systems lighting up spread through every council chamber. Ambassador Zelthar addressed the Union immediately. We underestimated humanity. They are ancient. They have fleets older than our oldest starships, and they awaken not as conquerors but as guardians. Some members were skeptical. Admiral Corrin of the Blarn Confederation spoke first. Guardians, perhaps, or a hidden threat waiting to reclaim the galaxy. Zelthar shook his head. They do not attack, yet they demand recognition of their presence. The galaxy has forgotten them, and now they remind us who they are. The council debated for hours. Some wanted diplomacy. Others feared humanity's return and called for preemptive action. But no one could deny the magnitude of the awakening. Back on Earth, the humans prepared for contact. Alara Voss and Hayes stood before the main control chamber's window, observing a fleet rising from the Pacific Ocean, not from water, but from hidden caverns beneath the seafloor. Thousands of ships glimmered with energy, engines humming in perfect synchronization. Hayes said, "We will not strike. Our message is clear. We return not to conquer but to reclaim knowledge and awaken the forgotten." Alara nodded. "And if the Union reacts with fear, we will show them the truth," Hayes replied. "We will prove humanity is a teacher, not a ruler." The first alien delegation approached Earth's orbit cautiously. They expected resistance, but found none. A massive ring structure, ancient and glowing with energy, appeared around the planet. It pulsed gently, not as a weapon, but as a signal. A shield, a message, and a welcome. Ambassador Zelthar watched in awe as the human fleet aligned with the ring. Ships that had been silent for millions of years now moved with purpose, forming precise geometric patterns across the orbit. "They do not attack," Vela said. "They only demonstrate presence." The human voice echoed across communications channels, calm and confident. "Representatives of the Galactic Union," Director Hayes spoke. "We have returned. We are not your enemies. We built the stars you call home. And now we guide, not rule." Panic spread among the Union fleets. Some considered retreat while others debated immediate response. Admiral Corrin's voice cut through the council. "Do we dare challenge them? We have fleets, yes, but theirs. They are ancient. Their technology predates ours by millions of years. Zelthar spoke urgently. We must understand before we act. Humanity is not here to dominate. They awaken only to reclaim what was lost. They are patient, powerful, and precise. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, human colonies continued to awaken. Ships emerged from frozen moons, buried cities lit up, and long-abandoned relays began transmitting again. In one system, a small alien world noted the awakening of a human outpost nearby. Its inhabitants, the Narel, panicked. Their historians had recorded humanity as a minor species. Now they saw entire fleets appear from nowhere, ships that dwarfed their own warships, all moving with silent precision. A Narel admiral reported, "We are witnessing an ancient power returning. It is beyond our understanding. We cannot fight it." On Earth, the final preparations were made. Ancient engines deep beneath Antarctica began transmitting energy pulses into the orbiting ring. The fleet moved as one, a silent army of guardians aligned with the rhythms of the planet. Alara observed the operation, her eyes bright with quiet pride. "They are awake," she said softly. "Every ship, every colony, everything our ancestors built is returning to life," Hayes added. "And yet we do not conquer. We only awaken. The galaxy will remember who humanity truly is." A Union fleet cautiously approached, intending to establish formal contact. They expected resistance, but the humans did not fire. Instead, a holographic projection appeared in orbit, a vast image of a human figure, not threatening, but commanding respect. The figure spoke in perfect galactic standard. "Galactic Union," it said. "We were here long before your records began. We guided the stars, taught civilizations, and protected life. We withdrew to preserve what remained. Now we return, not to conquer, but to awaken knowledge, restore forgotten truths, and guide without domination." The voice carried through every communication channel. Silence fell across the fleets. Even those who feared conflict felt awe. Humanity's presence was undeniable. Ambassador Zelthar transmitted a message back to the Council. "We were wrong. Earth is not young. Humanity is ancient. Their fleets, their technology, their knowledge, it predates the Union itself. They awaken, not as conquerors, but as the first light. We must approach carefully." The Council debated endlessly, but no decision could diminish the truth. Humanity was returning, and the galaxy would have to recognize them. That night on Earth, the sky was alive with energy. Ships hovered in perfect alignment, ancient engines pulsed, and long-dormant colonies lit up distant worlds. The humans, calm and deliberate, watched the stars. They did not cheer or celebrate. They waited. They knew patience was part of their nature. Their ancestors had taught them this, and across the galaxy, aliens watched in awe, fear, and wonder. For the first time in millennia, humanity was awake, fully, deliberately, and without hostility. The stars themselves seemed to glow brighter, as if recognizing the builders who had shaped them. And the legend spread quietly, from system to system. Humanity is not young. Humanity is the true ancient power. The galaxy held its breath. Every system, every fleet, every civilization that had once ignored Earth now watched. Humanity was awake, not as a young species, but as a force older than the stars many of them called home. The fleets of the Galactic Union hovered cautiously near Sol. They expected hostility. They saw none. Instead, ships long forgotten rose into orbit, forming precise patterns, engines humming in harmony with the planet below. Ambassador Zelthar stood on the bridge of the Orion Dawn, observing the scene. His 4 eyes scanned the human fleets, the ancient rings, and the pulsing energy spreading from Earth. "They are magnificent," he said softly. "They do not attack. They guide. They remind us of what we have forgotten." Vela nodded. "And their reach is galaxy-wide. They awaken systems that have been silent for eons. This is not just power, this is legacy." On Earth, Director Hayes and Dr. Alara Voss monitored every movement. Humanity's fleets moved gracefully, taking positions around key systems once colonized. Lights flickered on distant planets as long-dormant cities powered up. Communication signals once dead, now pulsed with messages, histories, and knowledge. Alara whispered, "It is happening." "The first humans are remembered," Hayes nodded. and they will not take what is not theirs. Our mission is guidance, restoration, and remembrance. We do not conquer. We awaken. Across the galaxy, reactions varied. Some species knelt in respect, seeing humans for what they truly were. The first light, the builders of civilizations. Others panicked, fearing power they could not yet understand. But no one could deny the truth. Humanity's fleets were fully operational, fully aware and fully capable, yet calm, disciplined, and deliberate. Admiral Corrin of the Blarn Confederation watched from his command ship. We thought them young. We thought Earth was insignificant. We were wrong. They are ancient, older than anything we have ever known. Zelthar responded in his communicator, voice steady. They do not conquer. They awaken. They remind us that the galaxy we know was built on their hands long before any of us arrived. The message spread throughout the Union. Fear turned into respect, and awe replaced disbelief. Humanity did not move recklessly. Ships moved along ancient routes, carefully inspecting colonies. Knowledge banks dormant for millions of years activated. Libraries, cities, and research stations long abandoned now pulsed with light. On one distant world, a young alien historian watched as a human vessel hovered above ruins of an old city. The ship projected holographic reconstructions of the past, buildings, people, and events that had been lost to time. The historian whispered to himself, "They were here before us. They built the stars we travel. They are the first civilization." On Earth, Hayes addressed a gathering of the awakened fleet's leaders. "We return not to dominate. We return to remind the galaxy of what was lost, to restore knowledge and to guide those willing to learn. Our power is not for war. It is for understanding, for protection, for memory." Alara added, "We awaken not as rulers but as guardians. Let the galaxy know humanity remembers, and we will not forget again." Across the Galactic Union, ambassadors and leaders listened in shock and awe. Zelthar sent his report. "We believed Earth was young. We believed humanity was inexperienced. We were wrong. They are the first light. Their fleets, their knowledge, and their presence predate the Union itself. They awaken to guide, not conquer. Humanity is the true ancient power of the stars." For the first time, the Council understood. The myths, the forgotten stories, the whispers of an ancient civilization, all were true. Humanity was not just a species. Humanity was a legacy. The fleets continued their movements, connecting with colonies, activating dormant technology, and restoring civilizations. Energy pulses from ancient engines spread across the galaxy like ripples in water, reaching worlds that had thought themselves alone. On one such world, a young alien engineer watched as a derelict city flickered to life. Buildings rose, machines hummed, and the air carried a soft glow of energy. She turned to her mentor. Who are they?" Her mentor answered quietly, eyes wide with wonder. "They are the builders. They are the first humans. They are the ones who made this galaxy possible." Back on Earth, Director Hayes stood before the control chamber window, looking at the sky alive with human ships. "They are awake. Every fleet, every colony, every forgotten city. Humanity has returned." Alara joined him, her eyes reflecting the light of orbiting ships. "And yet they are calm. They do not seek to rule. They only restore." Hayes smiled softly. "That is our nature. Humanity was never young. Humanity was never weak. We only waited, and now we awaken." Ambassador Zelthar observed the fleets rising from the shadows of abandoned systems. Ships that had been dormant for millions of years now moved with precision and grace. Alien fleets that had intended confrontation now hovered, unsure what to do. "They are not hostile," Zelthar said to the Union Council, "but their presence alone reminds us of our place. Humanity is the origin. Humanity is the true ancient power." The Council fell silent. Words failed to capture the scope of what was unfolding. The galaxy was being reminded of its history, a history built by humans long before most species even existed. A soft hum filled Earth's orbit. The ancient ring structure pulsed, connecting with fleets across the galaxy. Messages, knowledge, and history flowed outward. Civilizations long abandoned now remembered, not as myths, but as reality. Vela turned to Zelthar. "They are restoring balance. They are not conquering, they are awakening the galaxy." Zelthar nodded. "And in doing so, they are showing the Union what true wisdom looks like. Director Hayes transmitted a message to the Galactic Union. It was simple, yet carried weight beyond words. We are not your enemies. We were here before your records began. We guided civilizations, protected worlds, and nurtured knowledge. We withdrew to preserve life and history. Now we awaken. Humanity is not young. Humanity is the first light. Across the galaxy, aliens received the message. Silence fell in command rooms, academies, and fleets. Some wept, some knelt. Some simply stared at the stars, realizing everything they believed about history was incomplete. In the following days, humanity's awakening spread further. Systems that had thought themselves abandoned now lit up. Ancient archives revealed knowledge long lost, technology, medicine, and history that reshaped understanding. Ships returned to orbiting stations. Relays began transmitting again, and the galaxy slowly recognized that humanity had never truly left. Selthar watched quietly from the Aryan dawn. They do not conquer, he said. They guide. They restore. They remind us that civilization is built on care, patience, and vision. That is why humanity is the true ancient power. Fela nodded. And the galaxy will remember. They will never forget again. On Earth, Hayes and Ilara stood on the viewing deck of the main control station. The fleets above shimmered. The ring pulsed with gentle light, and the stars beyond seemed to glow brighter. Ilara whispered, "The galaxy will finally understand. Humanity is not new. Humanity is the origin, the guardians, and the first light." Hayes smiled, his eyes reflecting the calm brilliance of the awakening fleets. And now they will lead not by force but by wisdom. That is the power of humanity. Somewhere in deep space, an alien historian recorded a final note. We believed Earth was young. We believed humanity was weak. We were wrong. Humanity was always the first light. They guided the stars before any of us. Now they awaken, and the galaxy remembers. The stars shimmered quietly as if bowing to the civilization that had built them, and in every corner of the galaxy, one truth echoed across light years. Humanity is not young. Humanity is the true ancient power.